Welcome to Larry the Alchemist, and on today's episode, I'm going to respond to some comments on my 5 things I don't like about heavy metal and my Gatekeepers video. I do read all the comments, I just don't have a chance to respond a lot of times. The 5 things I don't like about heavy metal got a lot of comments, got a lot of reviews, most of them positive. There's some negative. I'm going to respond to the negative ones here at the end of this first section. We'll start with the positive. Let's start on a positive note. All right. Sorry if I don't pronounce people's names correctly. ARRE Bar 900. I like gory lyrics the way Carcass used them on Symphonies of Sickness. Other than that, they don't really bother me, but I don't particularly like them either. Yeah, this got me thinking because some other people comment, like somebody mentioned Slayer. I think I have that comment on here. And it did make me kind of rethink what I was saying because I do like Carcass and of course I like Slayer. And I guess where I would differentiate it, and maybe I should have been more clear, that I tend to not like lyrics that are violent lyrics towards other people, especially towards women. Like when I see death metal album covers and it's got women being chopped up with axes and chainsaws and stuff, I just know that's not going to be for me. And in the case of Carcass, a lot of their stuff has that medical imagery and medical terminology and stuff like that. So that doesn't bother me as much. Listen to Baladu said, songs that are even remotely complicated lyrically are not going to make it past the initial few seconds and the decision to listen or leave. My data shows that pretty conclusively. It's not the 70s and 90s where there were such limited options for listeners, and even horrible songs got the benefit of multiple listens before a fan tapped out. Just my 1 cent's worth. Great channel, by the way. Thank you for that. This is a good point, and I think I've made videos on a video on lyrics and how much do we really care about lyrics. And I get his point. I don't know, though, if lyrics are really complicated. I mean, the average person, I guess, they don't want to have to put a lot of thought into the lyrics. They just want to sort of get it pretty quickly and grasp the imagery and stuff like that. That's why so many lyrics, like when you think of like the LA glam stuff, it's just all partying and girls, and the lyrics are pretty, it's just not really much storytelling in lyrics like that. So yeah, you might have a point about that, and that is a good point about it. And I've discussed this in various aspects about like physical media, for instance, when I discussed that there was a limited number of things before streaming and the internet, so you gave things more of a chance than people do today. ALTDOK667, I think you've misinterpreted walk. Great show. Thank you. And yeah, that's possible because I don't really listen a lot to Pantera. I barely listen to Pantera at all, and I certainly haven't taken the time to analyze their lyrics. Aqua MIDI Deluxe 5079. Slayer must have been a tough sell for you, LOL, considering their classic stuff could be so gory and their later stuff got all angry and macho, end quote, I hate you and everybody, unquote. For what it's worth, I personally way preferred the former over the latter. I liked how their violent, satanic lyrics added to the atmosphere versus trying really hard to sound tough. Yeah, I agree with that. I like Slayer's earlier stuff. And this is another comment that did make me think. And I guess it's because Slayer, again, sort of falls into that. Like, I think of like War Ensemble. It's like they're violent lyrics, but they tend to, at least in the early stages, not be as geared towards violence towards others outside of a historical context. And their early stuff like Haunting the Chapel and stuff like that tended to be more Venom-like. So I actually prefer that era of Slayer. So Calatin 6273, am I the only one who rarely cares about the lyrics? If the vocals sound good, then I don't really care about the lyrics. It's all about the music for me. Good point, and I think I might make a separate video on this about how much, and I think I might have done something like this. Do I care about lyrics, and how much do I even care about the lyrics? I mean, I guess I care about the lyrics when they're really extreme, one way or another, like extremely boring or extremely narrow-minded in a specific direction. I didn't mention this in the video, but I would say the original 5 things I don't like about heavy metal. I would also say that I don't like lyrics that are hyper-focused on one thing, whether that be Satanism, Christianity, politics, just one thing. I find that really boring when bands only sing about one particular thing, especially like religion and politics because it starts to feel really preachy. Okay, R. Wally 81. While I mostly agree with what you're saying, it seems like you don't like the angry side of heavy metal, and that is a large component to the genre. For a lot of bands, it's the number one component of their sound. Most bands always encourage fans to go nuts and mosh part of the show. Not a pit guy, but it's never going away. I don't think the pits are as nearly as crazy that they used to be. Okay, so yeah, it's true. I'm not an angry person. I'm a pretty, peaceful, laid back, spiritual, meditative person. So yeah, the super over the top angry lyrics don't appeal to me, like I mentioned in the other video. But you say that this is a large component to the genre, and I would say certain, death metal, hardcore, that's true. But I listen to a ton of metal, and the majority of it doesn't really do that. Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, Dio, Ozzy, AC/DC, Queensryche, Megadeth. I mean, Megadeth has some vibe, but again, they're more in a historical nuclear war type of thing. So, Anton ZAJAJURCA 7797, you should just say that you don't like extreme metal. That's not true. I like a lot of extreme metal. I made a video on extreme metal. I love Behemoth, Septic Flesh, Mastodon, Death, Morbid Angel. But these are bands that tend to not just do the splatter gore type of lyrics. Those are the bands that I tend to like in extreme metal. And yeah, I'll admit that I'm more of a traditional metal guy, but there are extreme metal bands that I like. And Ryan Jacobson, 2508, big turnoff, nonstop goofy lyrics about Satanism. It had its shock value in the 80s, but now it's just cringe-inducing and stupid. Kind of to my earlier point, I agree with you. It's like, that's a trope that has certainly worn itself out. I mean, Ghost does it, but the way Ghost does it, it's almost like in a slapstick sort of way. I mean, I'm sure there's people that think they're serious about it, but I think most people know that they're not. It's almost done in a campy way, I would say, with Ghost. But I agree with you. If I see a band that's trying to act serious with that now, I'm probably not going to like it. Okay, then here's some of the negative comments, and I'll read the first one to you. The Global Institute of Metal. I guess I won't be receiving my degree in the mail after this comment. Sounds like heavy metal isn't for you, young man. Thank you. I'm not a young man, but thank you. Maybe you would prefer Perry Como. And there were two other comments that said, you should listen to Seals and Croft. Another comment said, Taylor Swift. I suggest you go to a Taylor Swift show. My response to that would be, what does it matter if I were to like those bands? Ironically, as of the making of this video, I'm playing a jazz show on Friday where we're playing a Perry Como song. So does that make me somebody who can't like heavy metal if I like Perry Como or Seals and Croft or Taylor? I like Billie Eilish a lot. I love Loriana McKenna. She's a Celtic singer. I love Elton John. I mean, so I can't listen to heavy metal and also like these other things. This is sort of illustrating my point that this sort of when I talked about my gatekeepers thing, it's like you have to be all in or you're not in at all. And what's the implication that if somebody does listen to Perry Como, that what? They're not tough enough to listen to heavy metal? I mean, I don't get that. So I disagree with you. The Global Institute of Metal. Spill Insanity 72. Turn in your metal card immediately and go listen to Seals and Croft. No, I'm not going to do that. I think I have a gold membership card because I've been in it for so long now. I'm not going to hand it over just because you disagree with me. Spill Insanity 72. Stinky 77 said, you don't like heavy metal. Everyone has their preferences. That's okay, but you're confused. I suggest you go to a Taylor Swift type show. You'll be nice and safe. It's not about being nice and safe. Just because I don't like pits, I just don't like that. Yeah, I'm somebody who doesn't like to take my shirt off and jump into a pit and be swinging and kicking at people. I was vacationing in Washington, D.C., and I went to I just forgot the name of the band. I can't believe it. King Fowley's band, Deceased. I just went to see Deceased, and of course, like, a pit never really totally broke out, but there was, you know how this sometimes happens where there's a big empty space in the middle, and it was a pretty small room. And these 2 or 3 young guys kept going out, and they were swinging their arms and kicking and everything. And okay, whatever, if that's what you want to do. But the problem is at one point, one of these guys kicked a girl, a lady, and like sent her like flying back. She's lucky she didn't hit her head on the floor or anything. And she wasn't even like right where these people were. This person kind of like moved between some of the people. So I'm fine. People can do whatever they want to do. I really don't care. I don't see, again, this implication that I'm not tough enough for heavy metal. I mean, what exactly does that mean? I don't get it. Okay. Shawnee West 8757. Just another I only like music I listened to when I was 17, narrow-minded podcaster. AC/DC isn't repetitive? I don't know what he means by that. Give me a break. Yeah. Well, yeah, I do listen to a lot of the stuff that I grew up on, but I also listen to a lot of new music too, so maybe you just don't watch the channel. Okay. This was the gatekeeping videos. A lot of people commented on my new lighting. Thank you. I appreciate that. I've had these red lights and I've used them I have an app that I can mix different colors, and I've used it to varying degrees, but I usually never used it completely 100% red. There's 4 lights above me. And I haven't done that because I always felt like it was too dark. And I have a ring light. And I usually had the ring light right in front of me because I thought, well, that's how you use it. But then it made me look all chalky and weird. And I'm already not the best looking guy in the world. I don't need to accentuate that. And I've got bags under my eyes a lot of times because I have sleep problems. But then I saw a video somewhere and somebody had one of those big like photographer lights, and it was pretty far above their head. And I thought, I should try that. And that's what I did. So my ring light is like above me now, and it made the world of difference. And thank you. A lot of people commented on it, and I think it looks really cool too. So, okay, this is on the Gatekeepers video. I've only seen gatekeeping in metal online. I've never seen any kind of gatekeeping in real life. I don't think this is a thing to actually worry about. This was Neurosis 85. I've seen a little bit of it in real life, like hanging out at shows, like I mentioned in the video. But you're right. I think online has brought this out to a much greater extent, like comments in the videos, like these comments from the people, I'm not tough enough for heavy metal, that type of thing. Yeah, online has definitely brought that out. Excelsior movie reviews. John, your lighting looks amazing. You should continue to use it. Thank you, sir. Davey Cretan, 664. Thanks, Dave. You're a regular viewer, I know, and you leave a lot of comments. I appreciate that. Excellent video, JG. To be blunt, I saw more of this gatekeeping stuff when I worked at the record store than I do nowadays. I love so many different subgenres of rock that it's hard to be a snob about one particular genre or branch of that genre. Love your passion, knowledge, and take on the hard rock and heavy metal. I've been with you for years now, and even though I don't comment on every video I watch, I still smash that like button. Keep up your stellar work. Thanks, Davey. I appreciate it, and I do see all your comments. That's interesting because, yeah, probably in a record store where people are buying music, you probably see people, saying things, or, you did probably hear comments, working in an environment like that. And you mentioned the lighting too. Thank you. I appreciate that. In My House 11 commented on the lighting. Thank you, sir. I like this comment. F. Devlin 5932. I love the Italian horror film lighting. Your production value is up by 500%. Thanks. I appreciate it. And I never really thought of that, but I'm a big fan of Italian horror movies, so maybe it was a subconscious thing. Analog Attack. We all start somewhere. That was a quote for me. Exactly. I appreciate this video. Yeah, and that was a good, point about I wanted to make in that video, that we all start somewhere, and sometimes you got to educate people, younger generations, people just getting into it. Neurosis 85. I've only seen gatekeeping in metal online. I've never seen any kind of gatekeeping of real. Actually, wait, I just recopied that. Sorry. I commented on that already. All right. This is a good comment. Afternoon Sin Stereo said, it's a little long, but I think it's good. It always surprises me how many of these things are based around identity. It's just not about the music itself. It's about how the music creates a subculture that people identify with and come to identify themselves by. I'm going to stop right there. That's a great point. And I mentioned the the goth community in the video because I am sort of in and out of that world also. And in that culture, the way you look and your identity is a really big part of it. I don't think it's as big a part in heavy metal, but it is to a certain degree. And you got me you got me thinking about it, about how, and I'm going to make a video on how much is heavy metal part of my life, how much is it a lifestyle, how much is it a part of yours. You go on to say the music is a crucial part of it, but so are the clothes and the hangouts and the history. And the thing as it pertains to the immersive dedication individuals defend based on social qualities that are simply very important to people. I think maybe this is why people feel so strongly about gatekeeping. They want to keep things they know and love intact, unwavering in the way that they interact with it. And people do get overly precious about it. That's just a fact. Great point, man. I totally agree with that I think we do gatekeep because it does mean something to us, right? If you're a casual, I mentioned Elton John earlier. I mean, I like Elton John, but I'm not some person that's going to go online and fight with somebody about what the best era of Elton John. I love Goodbye Yellow Brick Road and some of his early stuff. I'm not that into it to go that. Same thing with the goth stuff, you know. I go out, I like Darkwave and stuff like that, but I'm not going to. I don't care enough. I'm not that passionate enough about it to care, to get into arguments or gatekeep about it. So that's a really good point. Thank you for that comment. And like you said, there's one other thing that he said. A guy in khakis and a golf shirt is going to get scoffed at if they go to a metal show, and a guy in chucks and a battle vest is going to get scoffed if they go to a hip hop show. People are very invested in their social order. The moment the purity of the thing comes under any perceived assault, they get defensive. Yeah, very true. Great comment. Afternoons in stereo. Andrew Prentice 8857. There are some types of heavy metal that I struggle with, so I assume that the present-day gatekeepers wish to banish me from the fold. It's a pity because I try not to close my mind to other forms of the art that we call heavy metal. I would like to be totally one of the tribe, but there seems to be a gatekeeping mentality that wants to either delegitimize the old school stuff, usually in favor of the new extreme styles, or vice versa. That's true. I mean, you know, on my channel skews older, around my age, 45 to 65. So, of course, a lot of us like the classic stuff, the 70s, the 80s stuff. And when I talk about extreme metal, it tends to not do as well, or a lot of people comment that they don't like a lot of that stuff. And it's okay to not like things. I think most people here on the channel, in the comments that I read, that we understand that things evolve. And that was the point that I made in the video. Ultra Punk. In defense against the, quote, outsiders in a show, they usually lose interest in the music really quick, naturally get bored and become disruptive by wanting to talk and socialize while others want to listen to the music. Good point, and I see what you mean. My response to that would be they took a chance and they walked in. Maybe they were curious. Maybe it just wasn't for them. And during the show, they start to just socialize with the friends or something like that. I don't think there's any harm in that. I realize the annoyance with it. Again, going back to the goth community, they talk about this all the time, how there's people that go to the goth clubs just because they like the fashion, they don't like the music, and they're not invested in the music and all this other stuff. So I would say that you still have to sort of leave the door open. And, you know, the example that I would use for this is, I was a casual. There was a point in time where I watched soccer for like 2 or 3 months. If you've watched my channel, you know I'm a hockey fan. I watched soccer for like 2 or 3 months, and then I just completely never watched a soccer match again. That was like 15, 18 years ago, and I have not watched a second of soccer since then. So I was the perfect example of somebody walking in, checking it out for a little bit, getting into it for a moment, and then just walking away from it. And that's, what are you going to do? That's how people discover things, right? Moritz 1908, 1980. There are so many, quote, styles of metal music, and you can find enjoyment in any of these. But if you put 3 Japanese, quote, schoolgirls in the front and let them do silly dances, it's just corporate nonsense, appropriation, and an insult to metal. I am pretty tolerant and open when it comes to sounds and looks in metal. You don't have to look metal or sound evil, but don't make a mockery to cash in. This was a great, great post. I am going to make a video on this. I'm not going to really comment too much on this, but other people have asked me about baby metal, and I've never done a video on it. And I am going to do some gatekeeping in the video. That's it. I'll just give you a little, that's all I'll say. Paul H6673, have many people actually experienced this in real life? I have a strong link in this 90% online. Yeah, I agree with you. It's like I mentioned earlier, it's way more online than it is in than we see in real life. Maybe back in the day, like in the 80s, you probably had some of it too, but now I think it mostly exists online. Okay, there you go. Responding to comments on my 5 things I don't like about heavy metal and the gatekeeping videos. Like I said, I read everybody's comments. I just wanted to comment on a few of these here that jumped out at me. But I appreciate everybody's comments, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm always open to people disagreeing with me. In fact, the people that left the negative comments, I invited all of them to come on my channel and tell me why, I wasn't worthy to listen to heavy metal or whatever that one guy, or whatever some of them said. So, all right. Let me know if you guys have any more thoughts or in the comments down below. Thanks to everybody for watching the video, for all your comments. I do appreciate it. Till we see you again, make sure you stay heavy, stay metal.